Okay. Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. My name is Dr. Leena Kashyap. I am a retired faculty from the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai, where I worked for almost 35 years. I have enjoyed teaching students and so I have also enjoyed making these modules for the EPG Pathshala. Today's module is on incremental learning. What do we mean by that? Field practice and the field practicum is integral to social work education. Because it is integral, it is considered as a signature pedagogy of social work education. The fieldwork component in both the years is actually designed to integrate what you have learnt into the classroom with the experience that you gain in the practice setting or the fieldwork agency. The field component of the Masters of Social Work program in both the years is really designed to integrate the classroom information with the experiences gained in the practice setting or the fieldwork agency. Now, though you will probably in another module learn about the broader objectives of social work and fieldwork education, today I am going to talk about learner objectives for each of the 2 years of the master's program and the fieldwork objectives. In the first year, the learner objectives would be for you to acquire a practical learning experience in a social work agency, institution or community. And this is designed to complement your classroom academic work, as I just said. The second objective is to learn how to apply theory to actual social work situations. The third one is to gain an understanding of the depth and breadth needed for competent social work practice. And lastly, to gain generalist social work knowledge of concepts, skills and theories, behaviors and values used in social work practice and how do you apply them to practice. For meeting these objectives, you will be assigned several tasks during the first and the second years. What will be the tasks that you will be assigned in the first year? These tasks that you will be assigned will give you an opportunity to be exposed to a wide variety of experiences and be introduced to a wide scope of social work practice roles through tasks and with all the 5 systems levels, that is individuals, families, groups, organizations and communities. You will also have an opportunity to observe and put into practice primary, basic social work skills by participating at an introductory level in direct service activities, but not necessarily with every system level. And you will also have an opportunity to observe the many roles performed by the social worker during the helping process. You will get the opportunity of working with individuals, small groups and communities under varying circumstances, and the length of time for learning and practicing the various preliminary social work skills. You will also be observing and participating in staff meetings and board meetings. You will also observe and visit a network of resources and persons associated with the provision of services by your placement agency. You may also manage to have group conferences with classmates who are either placed in the same agency or in agencies which is doing the same kind of work. And in these group conferences, you will be sharing your experiences with each other. Now, when you are in this hands-on supervised experience of delivering social services, you will invariably encounter value and ethical dilemmas, issues of diversity, challenges in the promotion of social justice and economic justice in the service of vulnerable individuals and groups and also populations at risk. It is in this fieldwork placement that you will integrate your academic content with the realities and the challenges that you will face in the class, in the field. And you will be helped to overcome and to understand these value dilemmas by through the guidance of your field instructor, your field contact, and your faculty supervisor. We expect that you, at the end of the first year, you are able to demonstrate first an identification with the profession by having learned its culture, language, value base, social work standards, shared ethics and of social work. You should also be able to demonstrate an ability to identify ethical issues, apply social work ethics for solving ethical dilemmas related to race, ethnicity and gender. The second outcome that we expect is that you will have acquired requisite knowledge, values and conceptual framework for gaining a holistic understanding on the issues, problems, situations, causative factors and possible strategies of intervention for solving the problems affecting the well-being of people we work with. Also demonstrate that you are able to establish professional relationships and are able to engage with the client system, whether it is an individual, group or a community. The third outcome that we expect is that through observation and direct practice experience, you are able to identify the theories and concepts that can be applied to a variety of practice situations, and that you are able to use the relevant social work methods and intervention strategies in different field situations for addressing social problems. The fourth one, that outcome that we expect, is that you have developed an increasing awareness of self, which has enabled you to become comfortable in working with and on behalf of clients. You are able to gain greater acceptance and understanding of diversity in practice, and you are able to demonstrate conscious use of self. The next outcome that we expect is that you are able to observe, experience the interrelatedness of all the courses in the curriculum and apply the knowledge from the courses in the curriculum to your field practice. And the next outcome that we expect from you is that you are able to identify the conceptual frameworks applied, analyze the organizational structure of the agency, its relationship, how it fulfills its mission in meeting the needs of the population. You will also be, we expect that by then you are able to almost work like a social worker by understanding the routine procedures, how to record the work done, what administrative procedures are necessary in your agency. To summarize what I have said about the first year placement, the learning opportunities in this first year practicum experience, through that you will hopefully achieve the following competencies. You will be able to develop an identity as a master's level social worker, and you will be able to integrate professional values and ethics, which sometimes may not be the values and ethics you have grown up with, that you see around you. But this, you know, in the second year we will look at how you you reflect upon and integrate these values and ethics in your work. You also need, we hope you will have a beginning understanding of how to do critical thinking and application of theories. I'll explain to you a little bit more about critical thinking when we get to the second year. You have learned how to engage with diversity and difference in practice by being able to work with different groups of individuals and groups of people. It could be the elderly, it could be people with disability, it could be you know, people with special needs, it could be people who have a mental disability, any such differences that people have. You may, we also hope that you have gained some competency in understanding social policies that affect agency and the clients served. You will need to know, and we hope that by the end of the first year you have understood what are the laws that apply to your agency, what are the which is the ministry that works with your agency, and from where do they get the funds, what kind of funding and where does it go, how does the social audit of your organization take place. So a beginning understanding of all these things we hope you have gained by the end of the first year. And lastly, putting into practice skills related to engagement with the client, assessment of the problem, and intervention with the client population. So this is what we hope you will gain at the end of the first year. Now let's go to the second year. The second year's learner objectives are actually to further integrate your learning in the first year. What I mean is that you further integrate and apply your professional values, knowledge, theories and strategies learnt in academic courses to the actual social work situations. You will also, another objective is to develop greater self-awareness of one's own value orientations and feelings about people and problems that they bring to social work agencies. Very often we are brought up with very different value orientations, and when we come to a profession like social work, we begin to really reflect and question those value orientations that we have been brought up with. This is necessary for you to do. Then only you will gain greater awareness. So a very important objective is to develop greater awareness of one's own value orientation. Then another objective is to enhance your own ability for planning and differential use of intervention strategies and techniques. In the second year, you will have gained some understanding of how to plan and when to use which intervention strategy and technique depending upon the needs of the clients, depending upon what problem situation they are faced with. Another objective is to analyze your own interventions. Having done the interventions is not enough. You need to be able to analyze what you have done, the behavior of the client system and the service delivery systems related to the placement. Because unless we analyze what went right, what went wrong, we will not be able to improve and be able to be more effective. Another objective is to acquire greater knowledge and understanding of the network of social services in the community. This is very important because we must know our boundaries and we must know that we can't do everything. And so we may have to refer certain some of our clients for certain other services which they may need, which we are not equipped to give them. To acquire, and the last objective in the second year is to acquire an understanding of social work issues from a global multicultural perspective. This is also very important, but you can only learn this after you have learnt basic, after you have had basic understanding of basic social issues. Very often you will find when we look at issues that certain local issues are not really local, they are very global as well, and they affect not only people in our own locale or our own country, they also affect people in many parts of the world. In many organizations, in many departments or schools of social work, and TISS is one of them, they offer in the second year specializations or concentrations. Now when specializations and concentrations are offered, then the aim is to increase your knowledge and competence in social work practice methods in specialized fields of practice. Now what do I mean by specialized fields of practice? It could be child rights, it could be disability social work, it could be health and mental health, it could be criminology and correctional administration, it could be a livelihood and environment, and so on. If there are concentrations, then you will also need to learn specific skills aimed at advancing the social and economic justice for particular groups of population. You see, normally we work with populations who are at risk, who are vulnerable, whose rights are at risk, and that is why this aim is very important. And lastly, to enable you to acquire greater efficiency and proficiency in engaging, assessing, intervening and evaluating the clients at all systems level, but in particular clients served in the concentration area of practice. For example, if your area of concentration is disability studies, then you need to be able to engage with people with disability, assess their problems and intervene respectfully so that you maintain their dignity while you give a helping hand. Now, in order to be able to do this, there will be, as we saw in the first year, certain tasks assigned to you. You will get an opportunity again to identify yourself as a professional even more, and you will in fact conduct yourself almost like a social worker who is working in that agency. You will have greater opportunity to apply the ethical principles that guide professional practice. You will have an opportunity to identify the needs and issues of peoples and systems served, as well as the societal, community and agency conditions that influence practice. So do you realize that we are moving from a basic understanding to a higher order understanding? The next task would be that you will get an opportunity to engage with the clients. It could be individuals, families, groups, organizations or the community in purposefully and mutually determined goal-directed professional activities which are based on identifiable social work practice conceptual frameworks. Now this is very important because it has to be mutually determined. It's not you who are going to determine it. You're going to determine it with your clients as to what the clients require. You're also going to get an opportunity to use cognitive, emotive and action skills which can be applied to a whole variety of settings and the agency's function. You will also get an opportunity to acquire knowledge about the practice method, social policy and research applicable to your selected specialization, concentration, as well as the particular community or agency. Here in the second year, you will work not just at the micro level with your client group, you will also work at the social policy level. You will also do research. It could be need-based research, it could be outcome of certain services research, it could be research which you will use as evidence to base your practice in. So this is something where in the second year you not only work at the micro level, your practice will span from micro to macro level. Yeah, I had mentioned earlier that you need to make conscious use of self. Now, we are not robots. We also have our own emotions and we react to certain situations. We react cognitively, we react emotionally. And so we need to become far more aware and conscious of our own emotions and use the emotions and in such a way that we empathize with the client system, that when we are helping them to problem solve, we use cognitive approaches. We may, depending upon the client and what they would focus on, we would also use emotions, or we may use more cognitive solutions. In the second year, you will also have an opportunity to utilize critical thinking to assess theories, models and modalities selected for interventions. Now, critical thinking I've talked about. In another module, what is critical thinking is actually explained to you. So, you may look it up when you are thinking about this task. Then you will also get an opportunity to articulate a framework or frameworks for differential use of a variety of intervention methods and techniques, and to use what it means is that it depends upon the kind of issues, the kind of needs your client system, whether they are individuals, families, small groups, what are their requirements, what are their needs, and so your intervention methods and techniques will be based on what they require. That is what is meant by differential use of intervention methods. You may use, these are not just meant for service delivery, but also for bringing about change in organizations, neighborhoods and communities. You will also have an opportunity to engage in policy practice to advance socio-economic well-being and deliver effective social services. For example, you may be working with school children or in a school setting as a school social worker. You find that there are some children who are not coming to school regularly, and this is possibly because they have younger siblings whom they are looking after, or the mother is not able to bring the child to school. You then may think that what this community requires is a daycare center where the younger children could be looked after while the older ones are able to come to school. So in this way, you along with the community may think about policy changes or newer policies that may be required to bring about greater well-being of the people in that community. You may utilize field instruction as well as other resources of learning, which is, you may, in fact, field instruction is a very important source of learning, and you are integrating what you have learnt in the classroom, and you are trying to see whether it actually works in practice. And you will also integrate evaluation in your practice, because like I talked about when I was talking about the tasks in the first year, that it's not enough to only intervene, we need to evaluate. But in the second year, you will have a more superior quality, skills in evaluative skills and evaluation skills, so that you are able to improve the provision of service delivery and the programs. Now, just so that you are not feeling overwhelmed by all this, just I wish to assure you that you will not be left alone in the placement. There will be it is supervised placement. It is supervised placement during both the years. Now, who will you be supervised by? The fieldwork instructor. Either the person is working in the field placement agency, or it is a person appointed by the department faculty to supervise you in that placement agency, or it could also be one of the university faculty who is your direct fieldwork supervisor. Now, both these people or either of these people will establish a student supervisor relationship with you, and through this relationship they will make inputs into your learning as well as give you feedback as to the extent you have gained and achieved in imbibing the skills and the attitudes, and you are able to undertake the assignments effectively. The fieldwork instructors are very carefully selected, and it is in accordance with the criteria that comply with the standards of the Council of Social Work Education. So it will be a person who is well equipped to guide you, supervise you in your work, and who is not only experienced in working with people and in social work practice, but has also had some experience in supervision of students of social work. The university faculty, who may be either your direct fieldwork supervisor or your faculty advisor, is really a pivotal link between the curriculum, the field experience, and you, the student. So at any time you can go to the faculty advisor or the faculty supervisor and talk about any issues that you may have. Okay, what will they address? They will give you inputs, and they will discuss with you a variety of issues and needs, such as progress, obstacles, growths, and observations that they may have about the work that you have done in the agency, the way that you have accomplished the tasks that you have been assigned, the conscious use of self, the way you have been able to imbibe the values of the profession, and will give you very constructive feedback about all these things. Okay, so as I talked about in the first year, there will be certain outcomes that we will expect at the end of the second year. At the end of the second year, we do expect that you are able to work with individuals, families, small groups, organizations, and communities as need arise, both at the micro as well as at the macro level, at the individual casework, individual work level, as well as at the policy level. You will design, we hope that you are able to design and coordinate project planning and or service delivery activity. You are able to network with other agencies in order to help your clients. And you will be that you have been able to participate effectively in agency staff meetings and in board meetings, and lastly acquire a more solid identification and a feeling of sense of belonging with the social work profession and other professionals, clients, and the delivery system. So students, just to summarize what I have talked about in the last half an hour, I started with talking about why field work is so important and placement is so important. Then I talked about the objectives of the first and second year of placement, how it is incremental sequential learning that you will undertake, and this sequential learning is also introduced through the tasks that you have. In the first year you have beginning understanding tasks, where you start to actually start delivering basic services which are given by the agency or the placement setting or the community, and the outcomes that we expect. What do you, at the end of the first year, what do we expect you to have been able to learn or achieve? Then I talked about the objectives of the second year, as well as the fact that in the second year you may be offered specializations or concentrations, and if so, then you will also gain understanding as well as practice in working with specific groups of population depending upon your concentration. Then I talked about the objectives of the second year placement, which actually builds on the first year objectives and furthers the goal of effective practice. And then I talked about the tasks of the second year. From the tasks you will be able to see how the learning has been incremental for you, from the beginning tasks to the from beginning to work with individual clients and groups, to macro level practice in terms of thinking about policy changes, bringing about newer policies, and also using research as a tool in terms of either evaluating a service or making a service more effective, or even finding out what services are needed by that community or group of clients. And then I talked to you about what at the end of the 2 years, second year, what should you have achieved, what should you have learned. And by the end of the second year, we hope that you have learned you have a comprehensive knowledge, skills and understanding of what social workers actually do in their practice. Do read the notes. I have given you quite a few references and e-learning material which you could consult. Do consult them. Good luck.